Atlanta look to continue their momentum after they picked up a much-needed win over Sioux Falls. They enter the Mojave Desert to do battle with the Las Vegas Fury, who they themselves are looking to get back on track after 2 straight losses. Good evening, folks. I'm Tyler Fall. We want to welcome you into beautiful Silver State Stadium. Both teams have had rough patches to start their respective seasons, as both teams sit near 500 as they come into tonight's contest. Alden Bleeker joins me in the booth this evening. Alden, it's been third down woes for Atlanta and untimely turnovers for the Fury. How do both offenses go about trying to alleviate their burdens tonight?
Well, as you said, both of these teams have been having their struggles on offense. Last week, both of these quarterbacks threw 4 and 5 interceptions, and Atlanta have yet to put up, have yet to put up more than 20 points since week 1. So I really think this could be a question of which offense is able to click first.
And speaking of offenses for the Fury, it really hasn't been the passing game this season, Alden. It's been Scott Johnson leading the charge.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott Johnson's such a big part of this offense, and we're seeing more and more the halfbacks being a bigger and bigger part of the SFL offense. We'll have to see if he can carry a heavy burden on offense here tonight as well.
One last point for Atlanta. Even though Dynasty did throw 4 interceptions, he did lead a last-minute drive down the field to get that 1-point victory over Sioux Falls. And for Atlanta, it's been the defense that has led the way for Atlanta.
Yeah, and absolutely, again, as we say, this has really been these new halfbacks. I mean, that's really been sort of in response to all the talented defensive backs and linebackers that we've seen entering the league. Trying to play around them. Last week we saw we saw 2 tackles for we saw 10 passes defensed by Atlanta, and only getting 1 interception, but that 1 interception ended up being really big for them. They beat Sioux Falls by 1 score, so I think that's another point of emphasis, perhaps, the defensive backs trying to slow down, stymie these talented quarterbacks.
And as Silver State Stadium took a little bit longer to get underway than usual, we're finally ready to go as Atlanta will kick it off to the hometown Las Vegas Fury in their strawberry lemonade style uniforms. Atlanta in their white gray, and here we go from Las Vegas, Nevada. Doug Britton is the return man here for the Fury, and he'll get up to about the 23-yard line as Joseph Green trots out on the field to take his first snaps of this contest.
Yeah, and Mean Joe Green's such a talented quarterback. I've had the opportunity to play with him at the SFL minor league level, and last week went 16 for 27, and had 5 interceptions, but he also had 2 touchdown passes.
He'll start off with throwing the ball. Looks to the far sideline. It is caught by Scott Johnson, who turns out of a tackle, spins upfield, and will get the first down. A very nice swing pass to Scott Johnson to get them rolling.
Yeah, and as we've seen sort of the evolution of the halfback here in the SFL, that really is something that we're seeing coaches incorporate more and more into their offensive playbooks, is those designed screen passes.
He had 4 catches last week for 30 yards. That one went for about 11. So he'll go and get his day started on the ground. He'll pick up a nice chunk of 7 yards before he's hauled down at the 41-yard line. Let's get you introduced to the rest of the Fury offense. Joseph Green, the quarterback. Scott Johnson, the halfback, with ace-star Miramonte. She's at fullback. John Blades, Mason Kirby, and Doug Britton are the wideouts, with Scott Fowle and Jackson Roberts, the 2 rookie tight ends. Call for Scott Johnson, as his day has been quite busy. The first 3 plays of the ball game have all gone to his way. 1 through the air, 2 on the ground, except Napier stops him short of the line to gain.
Yeah, very, very close. This is really something, and to continue my point from the previous play, as we're seeing more and more running backs, we're also seeing teams starting to invest in offensive line, and just a great job opening up space to almost take this across the line.
And sure, why not give it to the workhorse? Scott Johnson will power through his line and get him up to midfield and another first down here for the Fury.
And again, just up front there in the trenches, creating space for their runner. This has really been a remarkable performance from Las Vegas on offense here so far.
See if someone other than Scott Johnson gets a touch. No, Scott Johnson again. Another gaping hole for him to scamper through. 6 yards is the gain on the play. Chris Henry with the tackle. As here come the swarm defensive starters. Chris Porter, Leo Jefferson, Billy Ray Valentine, and Joshua Johnson are the defensive linemen. Aquanta Shine, Cree Higgins, Diamond Blackwell are the linebackers. Jack Napier, Don Fletcher, Jay Rock, and Jay Miraculous are the corners, with Moose Papanow and Chris Henry at safety. Joseph Green looks to throw, and it's the first catch of the ball game for John Blades on the far side. First touch of the ball for anyone other than Scott Johnson.
Yeah, and that was a great job executing the corner out there. Really, that we talk a lot about using the run game to set up the passing game, and that's exactly what they did there. 3 running plays in a row for Las Vegas, setting up the corner out there because Atlanta were thinking run again.
Here comes another pass, another out route. It is caught again by Blades. He's going to step out of bounds, but not before picking up yet another first down.
And this is really the kind of passing that can be just so lethal when you have a talented quarterback under center. I mean, just putting the ball up in the air and the tall ball style really can net you a lot of yards and a lot of points. And Las Vegas are marching down the field. Speaking of points.
This will be the 8th play of the drive here for Las Vegas as they approach the 2-minute mark on time of possession here in this opening drive. Scott Johnson on the call, and for the first time tonight, he is thrown backward behind the line of scrimmage as Diamond Blackwell hit him first, and Chris Porter finishes him off.
Well, this is really something that we're going to have to see more and more of in this game, I think. You see 2 being sent to get to the runner there, and that really can be something that can be sort of a double-edged sword. Although you can shut those players down, it can sometimes open up holes elsewhere.
Well, loss of 3 on first down, make it 2nd and 13 as Green takes a deep drop over the middle, tipped and picked up at the goal line, going the other way. It's a big return to the 19-yard line as it was tipped and intercepted by Moose Papanow.
Wow, and that was really an exceptional interception. But it's like we said going into this game. This secondary is so big for Atlanta. Last week they had 10 passes defensed, and only 1 interception. But that's one way that you could look at it. But also they do so much to get these balls into the air and get them back into the hands of their offense.
Safeties combine on the previous play, and the Atlanta offense retakes the field for their first possession. Dynasty looks to throw, out route BDG Hollywood, who turns upfield and gets blasted at the 28-yard line, pickup of 8. And here come the Swarm offense. Bryant Dynasty is the quarterback. BDG Hollywood the tailback, with Mitchell O'Brien at fullback. Honest Adobe, Siege Falco, Boo Chisholm, and Ryan Roosevelt are the wideouts, and DJ Bandit and Jamal Wooding are the tight ends. BDG gets the call, stopped a yard short of the line to gain.
Well, the SFL Hall of Famer, BDG Hollywood, is really such a crucial part of this Atlanta team, both currently and historically. He ran it there, but he is second, in all-time receptions, regardless of position. That really shows his versatility, I think.
Dynasty looking for a swing pass. It's caught by BDG. Flag on the play. For now, it's a first down to about the 36-yard line, and we'll see R62 make his first call of the night.
An eligible receiver downfield.
So on the screen pass, they're going to
Ooh.
tag Tommy Williams, the center, with being downfield, and so that'll send him back, and it will negate the first down.
Well, this is sort of the opposite side of the coin of having such an aggressive offensive line that, is really pursuing these blocks, is that sometimes you have to go downfield to stay with your man, and that's exactly what we saw there.
Nice to throw now over the middle, and
Ooh.
he nearly gave it right back to Las Vegas. Nate Drury sends that one to the turf, and it brings up fourth down. It's another third down here this season, which Atlanta have not been able to convert on, Alden.
Well, yeah, and that's really the thing, like we say, we can talk about how Atlanta, have struggled to put up more than 20 points, but that's really the reason why is these woes on third down. It's so hard to put points on the board if you can't convert on third down, and Atlanta are not going to be in terrible. They're not going to give up too much field position, but this is going to be a tough stop for them.
I think that penalty earlier might have had something to do with that, as Chris Smith punts it away for Britton to not try and make a return. He's going to get up to the 46-yard line, and on comes Joseph Green and company after their first possession ended in that interception at the goal line.
Well, you've got to have a very short memory in the SFL. An interception happened. All you can really do is get back in the saddle, dust yourself off, and try again. And that really is the show of strength for a quarterback here in the SFL.
Linebackers show blitz, but they aren't able to get to Johnson, and Scott Johnson is to the 20, 15, 10, and he's out past the defenders and in to score. Touchdown, Fury!
Well, and man, talk about an expansive run. He just gets a little bit of space on the outside here. And as we're going to see, he does a great job, gets this spin move off and just finds the open turf. He's running at an angle almost, and there's just no way anyone on Atlanta was going to catch up to him from that first athletic move, causing a miss. That is just a brilliantly executed run by Scott Johnson.
Las Vegas go back to what has been their bread and butter this season. Hand the rock to Scott Johnson. He rewards them with a one-play drive, a 46-yard scamper for Scott Johnson. Snap spot, kick is up, and it is good from Matt Rage, and it's 7-0 Las Vegas. If you are new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. On the return for this first return tonight is Ryan Roosevelt, and Roosevelt heads out to the 24-yard line. It was a 3-and-out on their opening possession as Atlanta try and match Las Vegas's early pace.
Yeah, and we talked about that 3-and-out being sort of typical of what Atlanta has struggled with this season, but they have a chance to set things right here. And trends are only trends if they continue.
Corners are tight on the line here on first down. Dynasty looks to throw, steps up in the pocket. It's a dump off over the middle to the fullback, who shoulders a man, is eventually blasted down to the turf. Good pickup of about 9. It's not the fullback, it's the halfback BDG on the reception.
Well, and that really just goes to show the veteran poise of BDG Hollywood. I mean, that play looked like it was going to blow up, but BDG Hollywood just finding space down the sideline and turning what looked like it was going to be a couple of yards into almost a conversion.
Then shifts here on second and short. It'll be a stretch play for BDG, and he's going to be taken down in the backfield by Anthony Stover.
Man, and Anthony Stover, that's an athletic play for a big man up front. Looked like he darn near jumped over both offensive lines like a like an all-state track star. That is just a great job to get into the backfield and set up this third down situation.
And BDG through the middle. He's short by about half the length of a football, and it's 4th down.
Man, and that is so close. That again, like that 3rd and inches we saw earlier in this game. That's so close. Like I almost even wonder if that's worthy of challenging.
Mark Chisholm is going to keep the red hanky in his pocket and send out Chris Smith for his 2nd punt of the ball game. And it's away to Doug Britton to try and make a return. Stutter steps, makes a man miss. Take to the outside. He's got a good return to the 40, 30. No man in front of him. Doug Britton has a punt return touchdown.
Wow, that was, I think, one of the smartest runs. And we've seen some smart runs this game. I think that might be the smartest yet. He just finds, again, just the tiniest amount of space. I mean, this tackle at the very beginning doesn't connect. He breaks this one, and just the great blocks downfield. I mean, every single one of them was clean, and they just opened up the entire field for him. I mean, my goodness, 51 and 59 were just chilling in the end zone. Their jobs were done.
4th and inches goes exactly the wrong way if you're an Atlanta fan, in Las Vegas now up by 2 scores as Matt Rage is quickly hustled back on the field to try and tack home this extra point. High snap is corralled by Cole Trickle, and the kick is up and good, and Las Vegas have a 14-0 lead.
Yeah, I mean, out of nowhere, it feels like in some respects, we saw that great drive to start with, that march down the field that ended in a sudden interception. And again, just suddenly things happening very quickly in this game.
Rage sends it down the field once again as Roosevelt's on yet another return. Looking near side, taken down at the 25-yard line, and the offense comes back on the field for the Swarm, having yet to even grab a first down here in the first quarter. But if we know anything about this Atlanta team, they can score points. The last time these two teams faced off, Atlanta won 38-17.
Yeah, and this game is certainly not out of reach. I mean, it's a great start for Las Vegas, but games like this can sometimes test your mettle where you can maybe get a little overconfident.
Dynasty's pass over the middle, and there's the first down that Atlanta's looking for, hauled in by Anasadobi.
And that's really what is going to be the key component, I think, is to try to find your consistency and things can turn around very quickly in a game of football, and you've got to keep your foot on the gas.
Single back ace set here for Atlanta. Play action. Dynasty looks to throw, has the drag route for BDG, who turns the corner out of a couple tackles, and BDG crosses the midfield stripe and heads down to the 45 of Las Vegas.
Well, he does a great job to get a miss at the top there. Almost looked like he was going to go for even farther, but a great job of Las Vegas to swarm BDG Hollywood. And, well, Atlanta have a first down. They have another first down, and they're starting to find a little rhythm here.
Dynasty looks to throw again. Corner route is knocked aside by Merrick Iteras. Will introduce you to the rest of the Fury defense. Sam Yeager, A.K. Jones, and Anthony Stover are the defensive linemen. Dabson Bugnut, John Osiris, Day Drury, and Yakov Zolotov are the linebackers. Laquan Smith, Chris Maggle, and Merrick Itera are the corners, with Justin Raside, Nicky Cullentrell, and Max Jackson at the safety spots. Swing pass, BDG, far side. This time he's wrapped up cleanly by Bugnut, only a pickup of 3.
Well, this has really been a BDG Hollywood centric drive. So far 3 attempts with the ball in his hand, and he's starting to pick up some yards here on as a passing target.
Shotgun set now here for the Swarm on 3rd down. Dump off over the middle, looking for BDG, incomplete. And on comes the punting unit for the 3rd time tonight for Atlanta.
Yeah, and that's a lot more what Atlanta was looking for. I think overall, you've really got to find these points of improvement from drive to drive, and certainly good signs for Atlanta that they're able to give up that punt return touchdown and just rebound.
Smith looking to pin Las Vegas deep this time around as Britton gives it up, and the diving attempt from Max Jackson, or J-Rock, excuse me, goes for naught. It's a touchback.
Yeah, that almost looked like something out of a Harlem Globetrotters game, just diving for the ball. You almost expected him to like flip it over his head or something.
Now here comes Las Vegas's offense. Quite a bit of time on the bench after the run back by Scott Johnson on their last drive. He's only able to get 3 this time around. I welcome you back to Silver State Stadium here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tyler Falk, Alden Bleeker here in the booth with Ike McBride and Justin Reside in the stats truck. Thank you both for all the hard work you put into this broadcast. Green to throw, has time, steps up, tries to decide to run with it. He's still going and finally decides to dump it off as the second-year quarterback with some athleticism in the pocket eventually finds Doug Britton.
Yeah. Speak of your circus plays, I mean, that play looked like it was going to collapse at 2 or 3 different points, but just staying up on his feet was Joseph Green the entire time. I mean, that's one thing he's done really well all game, is buying himself time.
Green, quick drop over the middle, and it is far beyond the reaches of Mason Kirby, and it's a 3 and out.
Yeah, and a great job by Atlanta to shut them down here. That has really been something that they've sort of struggled with. That first drive, although it ended in an interception, Las Vegas were able to march, and you've really got to either string together points or string together stops. And Atlanta going to get another chance with the ball in their hands after showing a pretty significant improvement last drive over their previous ones.
And the punts away from Dustin McRack. It's a long punt, and the return man Roosevelt is unable to get past the 31. A heck of a punt from McRack.
Yeah, man, that's where it's really felt like a battle of the punters in some ways. We've seen the Atlanta Swarm punter come out, and Las Vegas almost pinned deep last time as well. So maybe that's one of those hidden little X factors that are going to make a big difference.
Atlanta looking to attack here late in this first corner in the gun. Dynasty steps up, and he's thrown down. A sack on 1st down, courtesy of Las Vegas.
Yeah, and oh man, the pocket just got blown up here. I mean, that was basically the opposite of what we saw that one play from Joe Green on the other side of the ball. I mean, just no time for him to react at all.
A loss of 5 after the sack by A.K. Jones sends him back to the 25-yard line. Play action from Dynasty is hit as he throws, and eventually finds his target on the far side. It is caught by BDG, only a pickup of 2. And that will bring us to the end of this first quarter. Las Vegas lead at home, 14-0. You're watching the SFL, presented by APM Music here on Twitch. Welcome back to Nevada. I'm Tyler Falk with Alden Bleeker alongside. Atlanta trying to get back in this game. It's a 3rd and long as we come out of the quarter break. Dynasty looking for a corner
Ooh.
route, and it's tipped, and that corner route to Boo Chisholm has not been working. It's been expertly defended now twice by Merrick Itera.
Yeah, and you really have to give credit for the bravery to run this corner out up in his face. But oh man, that bounced off of his hands there. That was a very scary moment. If you're an Atlanta fan, I mean, that would have been a very dangerous interception there.
So for the 3rd time tonight, Atlanta are forced to go out on 3 downs, and on comes the punter Chris Smith once again. Another high spiraling punt from Smith as Britton looks to make a return. Already has a punt return in the ball game, and he's looking to make another one, spinning out of a couple tackles and taken down at the 46-yard line.
Wow, well, that's something he's been doing all game, is staying up on his feet with this power running, and that's you've got to worry about that if you're an Atlanta Swarm fan.
High formation with 2 wide receivers here for Las Vegas as they begin the drive. Deep 7-step drop from Green over the middle. It is tipped and incomplete as it looked like Papanaugh was trying to repay the favor that Chris Henry gave him early on the first possession of this ball game, where Henry tipped a ball for Papanaugh to pick off.
Yeah, and that really is a great idea there. You know, the cooperation between the defensive backs just punches it a little bit too far there, though.
Offset eye with 3 wide receivers this time for Las Vegas. Green, another deep drop. Pressure coming, evades the sack, is still loose, and eventually just tosses it out of bounds. And I'll tell you what here, Alden, the quickness of Joseph Green, I think, has really caught these defensive linemen off guard.
The agility, the athleticism, like you say, but I mean also the awareness. I mean, I think you have to say that's a big part of it as well. Just his ability to sense where defenders are in the pocket and how much time he has and when he has to run. That's something you can't teach.
Scary because it's only his 2nd season with the club. Pressure coming, Green over the middle. It's a jumping attempt, but incomplete. Blades could not hold on as he was hit. It falls to the turf. 3 straight passes lead to a 3 and out.
Well, Atlanta do a great job getting the stop here. The active defensive secondary has been so big for them here. This pass not defensed while it was in the air, but they do a great job of reacting to where the receiver is. Sometimes that can be just as big as figuring out where the ball is in the air.
I believe that was Papanaugh who laid the lumber on the receiver Blades to jar that football free. On comes McCrack. On to punt this one away. He stands at his 30. Already had a long bomb on one of his earlier punts. He looks to do it again. This one's going to travel to the 10-yard line. It takes an Atlanta bounce, and it eventually is corralled, but not before it goes into the end zone, down for a touchback.
Yeah, the Fury saw that previous that previous punt that was almost pinned, and very similar circumstances of having a good idea, but just a little too much speed, a little too much juice heading towards the end zone.
Very slow-moving start here to the 2nd quarter. Only 39 ticks have elapsed as BDG gets the call here on 1st down, picks up 4 yards.
And BDG Hollywood, you know, we talk about, you know, his contributions to this league. He's an SFL Hall of Famer for a reason. He is just so good. He can run, he can catch, and they're counting on him to do both here this game.
Gets the call again, gets through the hole and picks up a 1st down to the 31-yard line before he's brought down by Nicky Colentrell.
And another run by BDG Hollywood that is just pure athleticism. He diagnoses where the space is, has to hurdle over one of his offensive linemen, and, just doing the most that he can with the space that he's given. That's how BDG Hollywood has made his money over the seasons here in the SFL.
Wide receiver set here on this first down. Stretch play near side. BDG hit after only picking up 3 as it's Dabson bugged in on the stop.
Well, previously, BDG Hollywood has been held to 50 yards per game, less than his average, and he really is starting to heat up here a bit.
We'll see if they can continue to give him more touches, especially down by 14. Play action pass. Out route near side and trying to get the first down, eventually doing it is BDG. Had to fight off a couple defenders to make it happen.
Yeah, and that was a bit of an awkward snap. Joseph Green had almost having to slide a little bit to corral that one, but it's just a great job of BDG Hollywood finding his route quickly, finding his space, and just being open when Joe Green is ready.
I think you were confusing Joseph Green with Bryant Dynasty that time as Hollywood gets the call here, 3 yards.
Excuse me, my apologies to Bryant Dynasty. This is so big for Atlanta to be able to move, even if it's a little bit at a time. Moving is such an improvement from where they were very early in this game.
Third downs have been kind of killer for Atlanta, so that if they can convert here on the second down, it might help them out. Indeed, they will. Over the middle, into Las Vegas territory, down to the 33, goes Boo Chisholm, his first catch of the night.
Well, the Atlanta fans were saying Boo Chisholm. He does a great job of running this corner route here, getting them across the 50-yard line. And this is something that Atlanta have really struggled to do all day, is get past the 50.
This is Atlanta's best drive of the ball game. This will be their 7th play. EDG on the carry only is able to pick up about 2 as Zolotov and Stover were in on the tackle.
Well, BDG Hollywood only has 16 yards on the run, and that feels a bit low because he has almost 50 yards and receiving and over 8 yards per reception.
Dynasty looks to throw out of the gun, has to wheel and fire, and it's nearly picked off by Colin Trell, and it's 3rd down.
Well, and as we talk about BDG Hollywood being played as sort of an off receiver in this week's game plan. They're throwing to him over and over, and that's something that maybe Las Vegas can key in on. Certainly, they have the skill in their secondary to do just that.
Now they come out with 4 receivers here on 3rd down. Dynasty. Over the middle, and it's nearly picked off. Laquan Smith swats it away. The rookie from Memphis gets involved, and maybe we'll see the first points of the ball game here for Atlanta as Sammy Steele trots onto the field.
Yeah, bit of a scary throw there, the little sidearm pass, but they do a great job to get down the field here. And like we talk about, consistency and rhythm are so big in this league. You've got to, whether if you're behind, you've got to keep fighting. If you're ahead, you've got to hold on to your lead as tight as you can. That's just how it goes in this league.
47-yard attempt is up and good from Steele, and Atlanta are on the board, 14-7. Have you checked out video content produced by our community lately? Catch the Sim Pod every week, SFL Crunch Time and Road to Glory every Wednesday night, SFL Nights with AJ Striker premieres Thursday nights, Say It With Your Chest airs Fridays, and Netma can be seen all week long at 6 p.m. Eastern. Every week, the live show's schedule can be accessed through our Discord server at the top of the channel listing. Just look for the Events tab. On the return now is Britain as he is taken down from behind at the 26-yard line. And on come the Fury offense once again.
Well, and Las Vegas had a great opening to this game. They had a great rushing touchdown from Scott Johnson, who's just such a star for their offense, and they got another touchdown from a punt return. But they've sort of struggled to move the ball since. They're gonna look to turn things around here.
Green looks to throw over the middle. It is caught and hit immediately. Is Scott fouled for a pickup of 7?
This is something that can be so big for a team.
Right.
It's like we were talking about with their reacting to where the receiver is. Sometimes you've got to apply that bend don't break philosophy, and sometimes that can get you a stop.
Offset eye here on 3rd and medium. Green over the middle, caught, first down to the 45-yard line goes Britain.
And this is something that we've seen a lot in this game in terms of passing. A lot of looking for the open man in the middle, a lot of looking for the open man on the corner. And, those routes have been so effective. You've got to get creative when the secondaries are this active.
Green looks to throw again. Swing pass caught by Johnson. He's corralled quickly after picking up a couple of yards by Aquinas Shine and Jack Napier.
Yeah, and this is a much better start to this set of downs for Atlanta. If you can, that bend don't break philosophy, if you can only give up a yard or two per play, then like I said, it makes that stop so possible.
Green looks to throw again over the middle, caught across the 40-yard line to the 37. Goes Mason Kirby, his first catch tonight.
Well, it really feels like these aerial duels have been sort of the story of offense and defense. You've got these great receivers matched up against very talented secondaries, and sometimes it can be an instance of who controls their airspace better. Does the defender or the receiver get to the spot first? That's a lot of what we're seeing as these teams are passing.
3-2 nickel look here from Atlanta. Pass, corner route, jumping catch by Blades, and it gets him into the red zone.
Yeah, again, tall ball dogfight mentality, just gets to this spot first and gets in the air. You've really got to get your feet set to jump, and it just makes your ability to get where the play is happening so crucial.
Heavy run set here, this power eye here for Las Vegas. Stretch play, Johnson spinning around defenders and picking up 6 yards before he's eventually corralled by Henry.
Man, and this is just such a great. I mean, we've seen a lot of power running from Las Vegas. Whether it's receivers staying up on their feet after the catch, or in the case of Joe Green, doing a great job staying up in the pocket as well. It's been such a big part of their offense.
Shotgun set in tight quarters into the end zone. Touchdown, Las Vegas, and Doug Britton gets Las Vegas back on the board.
Well, and the bend don't break mentality in effect from Atlanta there, but Las Vegas doing a great job chipping away at the yardage play by play, and it just sets up a great situation for them here. You get down the field, you keep the ball in your hands without turning it over, good things will happen for you.
A lot of folks at home, especially on the Atlanta side, are wondering what's going on. Well, you'd look no further than this series history, where these teams have matched up all 5 times, and the winner of those matchups has always been the home team. So if that's one thing to go by, Las Vegas are absolutely loving it, as the extra point is knocked home by Matt Rage, and it's 21-3, Fury in the lead.
Yeah, and it feels like we talk about this a lot in the league, but when you're behind and you're getting scored on, eventually you just got to start chaining stops and start start chaining points together. It's really going to be comeback season for Atlanta starting now.
Roosevelt on the return here for Atlanta. Tries to shimmy, shake, and taken down at the 24-yard line. Atlanta in a huge hole as we approach the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, another consideration that I think makes this interesting is, the clock management. How much time do you leave for Las Vegas if you're Atlanta? Are you worried that you're going to give up a 3 and out, or do you want to chew a lot of time off the clock?
Dynasty to throw, corner route caught by Falco, and it's a gain of 4 yards before he's taken down.
To continue my point, I don't think it's too much of a consideration at this particular moment, but I do think there's a lot of consideration for, if you're Atlanta, do you chew down to the 2-minute warning and effectively use that as a timeout? And we'll see as this drive continues.
Dynasty looking for Hollywood, and Hollywood has it. He escapes a tackle, escapes 2, and then he's eventually taken down, but not before he picks up the first down. And a thing to note here, Alden, is BDG has been quite heavily involved in this passing attack, now has more than all of his receivers combined, more than half, I should say.
Yeah, well, it's certainly been a very heavy part of the offensive game plan. We talk a lot about how the receiving halfback is becoming more and more of a thing here in the SFL.
I should say twice as much, has 7 receptions, though the running game for Atlanta has been a little rocky as BDG, it has been stopped by Zolotov.
Well, and that's the thing as well, right? You use the run to set up the pass, and you use the pass to in some ways to add to the safety of the run. And when one's not working, the other one can definitely suffer.
Their handoff for BDG had some blockers who set the edge, and he picks up a couple more yards, gets to about the 42, 3rd and 5 upcoming for Atlanta.
Well, and that's really what we're seeing, for BDG Hollywood. He's getting in these good positions, but he's just not able to get these big runs. 2.3 yards is his average, and 7 his longest.
That brings us to the 2-minute warning here in the first half. Atlanta looking to march down the field and bring this ball game back within striking distance. You're watching the SFL on Twitch. Tyler Falk, Alden Bleeker here in the booth. Ike McBride, Justin Reciting the stats truck, and our producer is Cameron Irvine. Welcome back to Silver State Stadium. Bryant Dynasty, deep ball over the middle, knocked aside by Cullen Trell, brings on the punting unit for Atlanta.
Yeah, and this is really the point where the clock management starts to become a big deal. I'm honestly surprised that Atlanta didn't go with the run just to take a little bit more time off the clock. It really all comes down to whether you think Las Vegas has the capability to score or not, whether you think you're going to get the ball again. I suppose this is a show of confidence in themselves.
Smith on to punt it away. Britton back to return, who spins out a 1, and Britton to the far sideline has a block, looking for punt return, touchdown number 2. He's gonna go again! Doug Britton has lit up the scoreboard once again. Touchdown Fury!
You want to talk about an explosive special teams play. I mean, that was set up exactly the same way they set up the previous return for a touchdown. Spins to the outside, and then you just have all these great blocks down the field. 95 throwing a huge block, and another big block up there, 2nd, 3rd, and he's gone. He is long gone. That is going to live in the memory of him and the memory of these Las Vegas fans for a long time to come.
Doug Britton with a hat trick of total touchdowns tonight. 1 on offense, 2 on punt returns. A day to remember for sure for the wideout. Sammy Steele adds the extra point, 28-3, and the over-under looks to me like it might be covered solely by Las Vegas.
Yeah, that they it certainly seems to be trending in that direction. Las Vegas are getting explosive scoring, and it's not even on big runs or big passes like you would usually associate that term with.
And we're underway once again as Roosevelt trying to make a return himself, who gets out of a tackle with a nice shoulder check. He gets it to the 28-yard line. And I don't know about you, Alden, but I think the way they came out, this Atlanta ball club, they were a little bit too conservative. And now when they try and hit those big plays, it just hasn't been working.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen, as we talk about that sort of dogfight mentality that we've seen in this game. That's something that Las Vegas have been doing all game, and it's something that Atlanta have sort of had to adapt to.
They're going to start out with a run here inside of 2 minutes, and they're going to lose a yard as that run was pretty well broken up by the defensive line.
And that's actually quite a good illustration of what I was getting ready to say. That Las Vegas have really sort of forced Atlanta to play their game here. Las Vegas, you could say it's exceptional that they have 2 punt return touchdowns, but it's because they're getting the ball in their hands so often.
Another swing pass to Bryant BDG, and BDG is able to grab the yard he lost and only one more. And as we're under a minute to go, got to start trying to at least march down the field and try and take a couple of deep shots.
Yeah, or at the very least, if you're determined to run out the clock with the ball in your hands, you've at least got to get another first down.
And for a possible post route over the middle as Dynasty looks for the corner, and it's taken away. Another corner route defended beautifully by Merrick Itera. Third time's the charm. He picks up Bryant Dynasty.
Yeah, and we talk about the secondaries for both of these teams. I mean, just reading the rhythm and getting to the spot, that is one of the big trends of this game is, the dog fights happening 5, 10, 15 yards above the field. He does a great job of making an athletic play there.
Now from midfield, Las Vegas might be able to tack on yet more points. Green with a deep drop. Deep bomb over the middle. Caught! Beautiful pitch and catch to John Blades. Gets him to the 12.
Well, this is the word of the day is explosive. I mean, just another great pass straight up the middle, and you see there John Blades doing a great job of burning the double coverage there. He was completely open. I'm surprised that didn't go for 6.
26 seconds left to go after Las Vegas called their timeout. Swing pass. Scott Johnson can't get by the defenders. Pick up a 1. Las Vegas call their second.
Yeah, and looking a bit tough for Las Vegas, but I mean they would love to go into the half up by 25 or up by 28 or even scoring another touchdown. But I mean, this has been just so big for them this first half, setting the tone here.
2nd and 9 from the 11. Johnson on the give. Near side out of the tackle. Touchdown, Las Vegas. And no amount of flex seal is going to stop this leak as the Fury pile it on.
Man, and just Las Vegas, like we said, this is a masterclass, forcing Atlanta to play their game, creating space on the outside for Scott Johnson, and they were expecting another pass there. I mean, Las Vegas has just been masterminding this performance.
Las Vegas lead by 31. Rage to make it 32 points. Snap spot, kick is up and good from Rage. 35-3. It is a blowout in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and as we said, it is both sides of the ball where Las Vegas is succeeding here. Their defense has been total lockdown mode, and they're getting points quickly on the other side of the ball. It is perhaps the point of emphasis.
Roosevelt on the return. He's taken down at the 24-yard line, and Atlanta with 13 seconds might just look to run out the rest of this clock as they'll get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've already given up in interception. You've already had your passes defensed multiple times. I really do think you've got to keep it on the ground here.
They'll do just that. BDG with the call, picks up a yard, and the clock will run out here in this first half. And Alden, it's been all Las Vegas all night tonight in all facets of play.
Yeah, I mean, like we keep saying, they have really forced Atlanta to play their game, and it can be really easy to look at these missed passes, as perhaps being on Bryant Dynasty, but their defense has been just totally suffocating all night long.
We'll take a closer look at everything as we go through the highlights. The story of the game clearly has been Doug Britt. 2 punt return touchdowns and a receiving touchdown to boot. Like I said, all facets of the game have been remarkably controlled by Las Vegas. I don't think anyone saw this type of scoreline coming.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not with 2 punts returned for touchdowns, but it's like we say, really, Las Vegas is getting the ball back in their hands, and that's the reason they have these opportunities to just streak down the field like a bolt of lightning. If Atlanta have been struggling to contrast, and so Las Vegas, I think they need to keep doing exactly what they're doing. Keep getting the ball back in your hands, keep creating opportunities for your offense. And Atlanta, meanwhile, really have to dig in. They have to find a way to get their passing game going or their running game going, but both have been struggling, and it's been fueling the struggles of the other.
I'm looking at these numbers right here, Alden. According to our statisticians, Ike McBride and Justin Raside, Atlanta has yet to convert on third down tonight, so those woes continue for Atlanta. And give credit to Las Vegas's entire bulk from the offense. They have completely ran roughshod over Atlanta. The defense for Atlanta usually has kept them within ball games, but it's been a not so good day at the offense for Atlanta. Stranger things have happened, but it's going to take a miracle and a half to get back in this football game.
Yeah, I mean, really, like we said, stops are so big for Atlanta, and just as much as Las Vegas have been sudden and abrupt in their scoring, they've got to start getting fumbles. They've got to start getting interceptions. Something they really have got to start dictating the tone on defense here. That's going to be so huge for their success going forward through these last 2 quarters.
The Phoenix here in Silver State Stadium watches over both the fans and the players as we welcome you back to Las Vegas. And Roosevelt will get us going here on the return as he gets it out to the near sideline, up to the 27 where he is taken down. And here come Atlanta's offense for the first time in this second half.
Yeah, and having time off the field and being able to get to reset, hopefully they're able to come up with something and at the very least reset their morale. If you can start to build some confidence, then you can start to have success.
Dynasty deep drop, looking on the right side, and it is caught by Jamal Wooding His first catch of the ball game results in a first down.
Yeah, and that's so great for Atlanta. You know, they've had to go to second or third down to get these conversions. Just doing a great job of running this corner route up and beyond the defense for Las Vegas, and maybe starting to cook a little bit. You know, don't want to say that too soon.
In response to Man Robinson's question about multiple punt return touchdowns, I think Max Jackson has it right. Gabriel Manning with two sometime last season. Dynasty steps up, far side, and it's out of the reach of Roosevelt. That's one corner route that they might want to go back to.
Yeah, and that looked so promising, but you know, it's like we've said, you've really got to get your feet planted and get up into the air, you know, in these sort of tall ball dogfight games. It's really establishing that supremacy deep in the zone that is the key.
Dynasty looks and is knocked down with authority by Chris Mago. That corner route did not go so well as we take a look at the numbers overall today.
Yeah, and man, you know, these numbers it look like they're fairly similar, but I mean it just does not really reflect how dominant Las Vegas have felt all throughout this game.
10th third down for Atlanta. Can they finally convert? Dynasty corner caught, and it's finally a connection to Boo Chisholm. That gets them their first third down conversion of the day, and it puts them on the opposite side of midfield.
Well, and that is just such this is what they have been struggling to do, right? You know, this tall ball dogfight style has really killed them. And so to have the bravery to run the deep route and go up in the air, I think that is it's so promising for Atlanta's offense.
8 men in the box to try and counter this heavy run set. They'll throw screen pass, BDG, and what a tackle by Itera. He got off the block quick and stopped BDG before he could get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that really it has been what we've been seeing from Las Vegas doing so well. You know, the defensive backs and the defensive linemen being so fast to get into the backfield.
4 tackles and that crucial interception on the day for Itera. Play action from Dynasty, looking over to the right side, tipped and incomplete. It looked like it bounced off the receiver's hands, and it falls incomplete. Third down.
Yeah, and we saw the block coming all the way up there for Joe Green or for Brian Dynasty, excuse me, and he did had a good idea to put it up the middle there, but just off of the backs of the defenders.
Corner to show press on the outside as Dynasty looks to throw over the middle, caught by Falco as he soared across the middle of the field to pick up another third down conversion.
Yeah, and just such a great job here. Pitch and catch, you know, it's really been something that has been a struggle for Bryant Dynasty is taking advantage of the time he has in his pocket, but he does a great job there of progressing through his routes and finding the man open.
Brings up a new set of downs here on the 24-yard line of Las Vegas for the Swarm. Dynasty looks for the out route toward the right-hand side of the formation. Falco with another catch here on this drive.
Yeah, and this is something that Atlanta has been sorely missing all game. This ability to have a rhythm on offense and just keep marching down the field yards and yards at a time.
No true wide receivers in this formation. A very heavy set on the line. 9 men all told for Atlanta. Dynasty looks for the swing pass for Dynasty, and it goes backward. It's a whole host of fury that get to him, not to mention Chris Magel, who started it all.
Yeah, and this is something that has we've seen Las Vegas's defense doing well. You know, they create the pressure on first down, and then they start to clamp down on second down, third down. And if you can't get through that lockdown, it can make it very hard for you to advance. And that's why Atlanta's been punting so much.
Pass over the middle, tip picked off in the red zone, and Las Vegas again deny Atlanta a scoring opportunity. Jackson with the fortuitous interception.
Well, man, it is so rough if you're Atlanta. You know, it's like we say, you know, so much lockdown defense being played by Las Vegas that there was nowhere for him to throw besides there and onto the sideline. Oh my goodness.
Las Vegas probably aren't done scoring just yet as they come out in the gun. Deep ball over the middle. It's a pickup of about 20 yards over the middle to Doug Britton.
Yeah, and Doug Britton's really having an all-timer game here for his career anyway. I mean, you know, the two return touchdowns are just a great job of running an athletic corner out there. We've seen the big man, tall ball dogfight mentality all game, but if you can just outspeed your man, sometimes that will do just as well.
Play action, Green to throw, deep ball, caught to the 20-yard line, goes Mason Kirby.
Man, and just when you think Las Vegas have decided to go of more of a more of a speedy route, again, the dogfight mentality. You know, we keep saying it. It might have become a bit cliche at this point, but just getting your receiver to the spot and getting them up in the air, that is so valuable when those kinds of plays connect for you as a quarterback.
Johnson with the carry now on this first down. He's able to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage, though it was a pretty heavy front up the gut, led by Jack Napier.
Well, it's and this is really going to be crunch time for Atlanta's defense. You know, you've got to dust off the things that have happened to you and keep going. You know, this game is not out of reach.
There's your second flag of the ball game as one of the exterior defensive linemen jumped offside. So both penalties, Alden, have been on Atlanta, and it comes at a crucial time when they're trying to hold him to maybe even only a field goal, and that'll bring him to the 15-yard line as BRV, Billy Ray Valentine, gets tagged with the infraction.
Yeah, and we saw early in this game, you know, that penalty that set Atlanta back a number of yards and led to a 3-and-out. You know, you really cannot afford to give up penalties like this when you're behind. It just lets your opponent keep moving for free.
It's almost like Chat cursed it. They were talking about flags, and all of a sudden one appears. Scott Johnson to the left side. He's taken down for a loss of 2 by Cree Higgins.
Man, and this is just so stern from Atlanta here, you know, giving up the penalty, and all of a sudden, you know, they've tightened up. This is 3rd and 7 now. They are going to take this opportunity to get a turnover here.
3rd and 7 from the 17. You know, alone in the gun. Looks to throw over the middle, caught near the goal line, and down to the 2 goes Blades.
Well, and that's very similar to the pass that we just saw taken away from Atlanta in the red zone. But he does a great job here of running this corner out. You know, it makes it really tricky for the coverage when they've just got so many people to cover.
1st and goal now here for Las Vegas. Atlanta come out in their goal line defense. Johnson on the give through the middle. Touchdown, Las Vegas. It's now 40 points plus for Las Vegas over Atlanta.
And that is the 3rd touchdown of the game for Scott Johnson. And I mean, you know, what can you say about him? at this point, getting the hat trick, Doug Britton getting the punt return touchdown. Las Vegas have had, I think, arguably one of their most explosive performances in recent memory here.
Also brings into question their largest margin of victory, their most points they've scored in a game. We'll talk about that in a little bit more, maybe as Rage knocks home the extra point. 42-3, your score line here in Nevada.
Yeah, well, as you say, this has been, excuse me, this has been such an opportunity for Las Vegas to return to form, and their largest margin of victory on the road, 42, and they're looking like they might challenge that here.
Largest margin of victory at home would be 33. That was that was 42 versus the Indianapolis Spitfire, a name we haven't said in a long time, and it was by a very similar scoreline, 45-3. Do we see something like that happening?
Yeah, and that really, I think, is a testament to how good Las Vegas have been on that side of the ball here. That record goes all the way back to season 12 and has stood for that amount of time.
BG tried to bounce it to the outside, and it was contained rather nicely. And again, and on yet another tackle is Zolotov.
Yeah, this has been so hard for Atlanta to deal with. Just the pressure getting to them and shutting down these plays that are looking like they're going to go somewhere for Atlanta.
Just under 25 yards on the ground. BDG has been more impactful on the passing game. Dynasty looks to throw this time, coming back to the ball, losing yards. Losing about 4 that time, I believe, is Boo Chisholm.
Well, that's been something that we've seen working more or less for Atlanta all game. The ability to just stick with these plays and get something rather than nothing. But there you see it not quite going their way. Buchism going backwards.
He looking for the corner, tipped, picked up, going the other way. It's a foot race, and he's taken down at the 21-yard line. That is Bryant Dynasty's third interception tonight.
Oh man, and you really feel for Bryant Dynasty. I mean, such a talented quarterback, and sometimes you just have a secondary that's really on fire, and I think that's really what we've seen here tonight. Las Vegas have been clicking in areas that you can't really predict. Touchdown returns, interceptions. This has really been, dare I say it, a complete performance.
That's Laquan Smith's first interception of his rookie career. So congratulations to Smith as Johnson gets the ball going once again toward the near side, picks up 6 yards, and it looks like Johnson might be a little slow to get up, but eventually does pop to his feet.
Yeah, and I think Las Vegas certainly are cognizant of their ability to set a new record here, but I do think Las Vegas very good sportsmen as well. So I think we're going to see more and more over the course of this game them trying to run out the clock.
Another pass outside, and there's the show of defense from Atlanta as Miraculous able to swat that one aside.
Yeah, and credit to Atlanta. They're far behind, but they're sticking with what has worked for them so far in this game. The deep in their own territory defense that is forcing Las Vegas to get creative.
Yet another penalty for Atlanta. That's their third, caught near side, possibly by Mason Kirby. However, we might get a second look at it.
I was gonna say if that does not go to the reef. Oh my goodness.
Well, they'll decline the penalty. And I wonder if they're going to rule that a catch on the field. And indeed, they will. First and goal, Fury.
Yeah, that was so close to me. Again, another play that was worthy of a challenge, perhaps, and that's exactly what's going to happen here.
The visiting
They're going to
team
challenge the
retaliates
catch
whether the pass
because they decline a penalty that negates the protection, should you say, over the play. So on we go. We go under the hood with our 62.
This is very close, even from that angle.
Did he have a toenail left on the ground?
after
R62.
review, the play stands. The pass was complete.
And they're going to call it a catch after taking a look at it. Atlanta lose a timeout, and the Fury are within a few meters of the end zone.
Well, that is really a worthwhile challenge for Atlanta. Certainly you could see the argument for either side, and doing a good job to try to protect their field position.
Shotgun formation, a yard outside the goal line. Green hit as he throws. It's a fluttering pass, and everything is going the way of the Fury as Jackson Roberts, gets his first touchdown of his career.
Wow, and we just saw one extremely close pass upheld, and they throw another one there. I mean, he is falling over himself trying to stay in bounds here, quite literally, and somehow, some way manages to stay up long enough to get that catch. That is just demonstrative of the success that Las Vegas have been able to have here.
Alden, I almost want to apologize because earlier in the broadcast I said Las Vegas, might just cover the spread, might just cover the over/under by themselves. I was only joking, and they're a point away from getting 50 points on the ball game. So call it a commentator's blessing, a curse for Atlanta possibly, but Las Vegas have shown no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, like we said, they are very much endangering a record that has stood since season 12, and just a game to remember for pretty much every member of this Las Vegas team.
Roosevelt on the return, try to shimmy shake and has to pay for it. He's down at the 26-yard line. The SFL continues spotlighting games in their own time slot tomorrow, February 28th, with London versus Houston. Next week's special feature, you'll see SFL action from a whole new perspective as we give you an all new and unique camera angle and see how all the action unfolds. Visit simulationfl.net for complete Monday night special schedule and details as BDG gets the call, loss of 2 as he's taken down by Jaeger.
Yeah, and this is, man, I don't want to say this is over as a contest, but it would be one of the most spectacular comebacks we've ever seen in the history of this league, and Atlanta trying to diagnose the issues and trying to get down the field. That's the first step before they can think about anything else.
Another handoff for Dynasty near side. This time is a couple of blocks, and it can't get by the hard-hitting safety, Max Jackson.
And this is another situation where BDG Hollywood does what he's supposed to do, and it's a well drawn up play, but just swarming around him. The coverage is everywhere, and the tempo really has been dictated on both sides of the ball by Las Vegas. I don't think we can emphasize enough how in control they've been throughout this game.
Officer eye behind Dynasty, handoff for BDG, and he can't get back to the line of scrimmage. Las Vegas are almost looking at this Atlanta offense and reading them like a book. They have been precise, they have been relentless, and they have been ruthless tonight.
Yeah, and this is really, I think, going to wake up some offensive coordinators around the league that this Las Vegas team's strength in a lot of ways comes from their offense creating their defense creating opportunities for their offense.
Britton gets out of yet another tackle on a return. This time, he's taken down at the 33-yard line as the offense retakes the field, and they can pretty much go on cruise control, barring anything crazy.
Yeah, I would suspect if you're Las Vegas, they're going to try to run out the third quarter and as large a chunk of the fourth as they can. Short runs going to be the order for them here, I think.
Minute 14 left to go here in the third quarter. Handoff up the middle. Can't get any traction. Maybe a yard for Scott Johnson.
Yeah, and that's the thing, about when your opponent is in true clock mode, is that you know so much better what they're gonna do. They're gonna rely heavily on the run, and if anything, if there's any sort of pass, it's gonna be play action.
Linebacker shift eventually show blitz. It's a handoff for Johnson left side. He breaks out of a tackle and gets to about the 40-yard line.
Well, and that's been two really good stops on the run for Atlanta to their credit. And now it puts Las Vegas in a situation where, do you pass, do you run? The question is, how confident are you in your ability to convert? Because like I said, they're gonna try to chew off the third quarter here.
More than likely the last play of the third quarter. Green to throw, hit as he throws, then he'll just spike it to the ground. Hit as he was throwing. Leo Jefferson with the attempted sack, and the punting unit takes the field here in the waning moments of this third quarter.
Well, that is a great job by Atlanta to keep up with the pressure. It's as we said much earlier in this broadcast. You keep the ball in your hands and good things will happen. Atlanta doing a good job to get the ball back.
Atlanta send the pressure, and they block the punt. Las Vegas on the return, though. And Las Vegas might just have more things going for them. Into the 21-yard line. Oh, my goodness.
I am speechless. This is I think talk about a special teams game. I mean, that punt blocked and there's nobody on Atlanta left to get to it. I don't know if someone on Atlanta thought they had heard the whistle or what the issue was there, because he had all the space in the world and he didn't even need blocks to do it.
When we come back, the Fury are in Atlanta territory after a blocked punt. When we come back, get your 4s and A6s up in chat. This is the SFL, presented by APM Music, right here on Twitch. "11 more minutes until Atlanta can maybe breathe a sigh of relief that this ball game is over, because it's been a nightmare for them. Green to the end zone, picked off, and there's a little bit of life for Atlanta. Oh my goodness! The offense laid the lumber onto Moose Papanow, but it's a pick nonetheless to the 6-yard line.
This is going to be an interesting film session for Atlanta, to say the least. I mean, this has been such an unusual ball game, doing their absolute best to hang on here and doing a great job showing effort. I mean, that really it can be so easy to be defeated when you're this far behind and in such bizarre circumstances to boot, but they're hanging with it.
That was Scott Fowle with the spear on Papanow. My goodness. Play action. This might turn to the bad side of things, but Dynasty finds BDG turning upfield and getting them a lot more breathing room to the 24-yard line.
Shades of double A Arn Anderson from the Las Vegas defense on that previous play. My goodness, but BDG Hollywood doing a great job of finding his space here. The clock continuing to run for Atlanta, but that really is something that he's able to do so well, is exploit the space that he's given.
Second play of the drive is also a first down here for Atlanta, under 10.5 to go. Dynasty is going to look for a swing pass for Hollywood, and he's taken down by Zolotov. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit 8pmmusic.com. 2nd and 12 here for the Swarm. Dynasty looking for the out route, and it's incomplete. Possible pass interference by Laquan Smith, though the flags will remain in our 62 pocket.
Yeah, I was gonna say referee letting him play there. It was a well drawn up pass though, and third down has been something of a nightmare for Atlanta all game. But I wonder if this is maybe 4 down territory. If you just got to play out of pride on 4th down.
They're 2 of 14 on 3rd downs tonight. Dynasty looking near side, caught by Falco down the sideline. He will break out of a tackle and step out of bounds at the 21-yard line. However, I think I did see his foot hit the out of bounds line before that.
Oh, I was getting ready to say, I wonder if this is going to be challenged. He was very tight to the sideline the entire time. Well, let's look at it from this angle. That's a definite catch. Oh, he kept his foot in bound. It looked like
control.
that was outstanding body control.
Beautiful reception there from Falco, and Atlanta looking to put their first points on the board since early on in the first quarter. Dynasty looking for DDG near side, try to juke, and pays the price. Max Jackson on yet another hard hit.
Yeah, and really when these plays are not being defensed by Las Vegas, they're racking up huge tackles on the team. I mean, that's been just as stifling as the coverage.
Last time Atlanta was in the red zone, they threw a pick. How will their fortunes change this time around? Pass outside, caught. Turning upfield is the backup halfback, Riley Freeman, who picks up the first down.
Well, this is the drive that Atlanta have been looking for all game. It may have come a little late for their liking, but just doing a great job of keeping these plays alive and finding open targets. In some ways, they're having to work with what they got, but this is much cleaner than they've been getting.
Freeman staying in the game. Hopefully, BDG has only had maybe a little bit of a breather as he sits on the sidelines for this next play. Another handoff, and swallowed up in the backfield was Freeman.
Man, this is really tough. You know, this is a tough coaching decision. You know, do you rest your star players knowing that this would be very difficult to come back, or do you put that confidence in them? You know, risk them being tired to potentially get a comeback.
Freeman slides as he makes the reception, and he slides right back to the line of scrimmage.
Oh man, this is so tough for Atlanta here. Another 3rd down situation. It's really been their kryptonite. I mean, you've got to remember that Atlanta are playing for pride here. They could stop Las Vegas from setting a new record.
BDG is still on the sideline. Dynasty to throw, corner route. It is knocked aside, incomplete again by Itera, and the field goal unit retakes the field. Still no word on BDG.
Well, Boo Chisholm has really been shut down as we saw there. Seven attempts, 3 of which have connected. He really has been shut down, like as have most of these receivers for Atlanta.
Steele to try and attempt a 26-yarder. High snap, kick is up, and it is good from Steele, and it's 49-6.
Well, record watch for Las Vegas now, as their biggest margin of victory was 42. They're still up by 43. And this is going to be an opportunity for Las Vegas to hopefully either score if you're on their side, or milk a lot of time off the clock. Either or would help them secure this record.
Britton on the return, spins out of a tackle, and is told to sit back down at the 35-yard line by Don Fletcher. So 1st and 10 here for Las Vegas. Alden, 7:32. It's been the passing game so far that has done wonders, but Scott Johnson does have 100 yards in the ground. Look for that number to continue to rise as they look to milk much more of this clock. As Johnson gets involved in the passing game, swing pass right side, picks up 3 yards. Coverage of the Simulation Football League on Next Level Sports continues this Saturday, March 5th. Queen City heads to Arizona in a rematch of the 2021 convention heartbreak for the Scorpions, followed by 2 teams that don't often cross paths but have plenty to prove, Lone Star and LA. Bonus coverage will include Rising Sioux Falls in DC plus Fort Worth and Vancouver. Stay tuned for kickoff time. Visit NLSE.com to find Next Level Sports in your neck of the woods. Caught on 2nd down is John Blades with the reception, picks up a couple more, brings up 3rd and short.
Yeah, and Atlanta maybe getting another shot at the ball here. It's as we say, play for pride. You can't give up on these games no matter what. You've got to continue to have that winning mentality.
Johnson on the give on 3rd down, and he picks up the first, fighting off BRV and Dre Miraculous for the 1st down. Brand new set of downs. The clock continues to run here in Nevada. Johnson on the give, tackled behind the line, loss of 1 yard. I'm still surprised to see all the starters in for Las Vegas.
Yes, certainly. This game is going to go the way of Las Vegas. I guess the only consideration to make is that they do perhaps want to ink this record in the record books, and that maybe is an argument to keep your starters on.
Pass over the middle, broken up with authority as they were trying to find Mason Kirby, and he's a little wary of getting up as he trots away. Let's see who made that incredible hit.
Oh boy, that was
what a shine in the middle linebacker with the crunching hit.
Yeah, that really is. I mean that pass up the middle has worked so well for Las Vegas. So a Quanta Shine stepping up there to get the hit, doing what he has to for his team there.
On straight package here for Las Vegas, 3rd and 11. Green to throw, deep ball right side, caught, and Mason Kirby gets Las Vegas to the 37-yard line, and the Fury have continued to move the ball even when the score line is well out of reach for Atlanta at this point.
Yeah, and like we said, that record's still on the books. That it's really I think it says a lot about their commitment to excellence. That this game is effectively won. It's just a matter of time. And they're continuing to move the ball as best they can.
Johnson has to get out of a tackle in the backfield. Blockers in front of him, and he's thrown to the turf at the 24, but not before he picks up another 1st down.
Oh man, usually your instinct when you're in a clock chewing scenario is just to take the short yardage. I mean, he breaks 1 tackle. He almost breaks the second one. He gets maybe about a half a yard after the 2nd tackle is initiated, and just a power run.
Another offset eye formation here for Las Vegas as the linebackers shift in the direction of last play's run. And they'll try and run the same play. It's a crunching hit by Shine behind the line. Loss of 2.
Man, and that is this is a big drive for a Quanta Shine. doing a lot to fight for the shirt, so to speak, continuing to prove their commitment.
Clock continues to wind down as Johnson gets another call on 2nd and long, and he'll lose yet another yard. Meanwhile, over on SFL YouTube, Portland trying to make a comeback in that ball game, down by at least a couple scores, now within a single touchdown.
Yeah, and that has really been a back and forth game, and I think you would say the back and forth game that we were expecting to see in this game, because the statistics last week for these two teams were very even. They both had a number of interceptions they gave up, and they both had a number of passes that they defensed. You really thought this match was going to be a lot closer than it was.
Green for a quick drop over the middle, caught inside the 10 to the 8-yard line, and Las Vegas just continued to leave no quarter, as that was the backup Cole Trickle with a very nice pass.
Yeah, and oh man, and then a chance to contribute is a chance to contribute. We can talk about sportsmanship and unwritten rules and what have you, but the Las Vegas Fury. I mean that desire to move the ball and move downfield has really been so crucial for them.
So with Trickle on the field, backups remain in the ball game, and so we'll see a handoff this time to Simon Phoenix, as he'll pick up a couple yards as the clock continues to wind down. We'll probably see one more play before we hit the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, and Las Vegas in a position to score again. This has really been, uh, we say it a lot, but this has really been a front to back performance for Las Vegas. They've suffocated them on defense, and they sometimes don't even need to get the ball in their offense's hands. The special teams just takes care of putting 6 points on the board.
Trickle will hand off for Phoenix through the middle, picks up another couple of yards, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left to go here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas lead 49-6. You're watching the SFL, presented by APM Music on Twitch. Final dying embers here in this contest, as Las Vegas might look to put more points here on the board. They're on Atlanta's 5. Play action, Trickle under pressure, and he is thrown to the turf behind the line. They'll mark him at the 12. A loss of about 7 yards as BRV gets his sack in this ball game.
Yeah, and a great job of collapsing the pocket there. 90 and 95, both really going around the block there. So Leo Jefferson and his backup doing a great job of getting into the face of the offense there.
This field goal to tie Las Vegas's record for most points scored in a game. 29-yard attempt from the right hash, snap spat. Matt Rage's kick is up and good. And as things stand, not only will this be the most points they've ever scored in a single football game, or tied with that, with their season 12 standing record against Tulsa, it will also be their largest margin of victory.
Yeah, and Atlanta is a team that has had such success in the playoffs. So, you never look a gift horse in the mouth when it comes to victories like against teams like Atlanta. But the fact that it was such a dominant performance, I think, is going to make it taste that much sweeter.
They're a few seasons removed from their season 14 championship, Alden, and this is roughly the same team that we saw change a quarterback, of course, with Dynasty instead of Marcus Dunhill, but nonetheless, this team has always been poised to make playoff runs, and this loss tonight, I am sure, will galvanize the Swarm to do better in their second half of the season. Tonight, they'll fall back to 500 while Las Vegas move to 500. Will we see a last couple minute touchdown for Atlanta to try and maybe leave Las Vegas with some extra high hopes? Pass over the middle, caught, gain of about 9 yards to the 35. Dynasty looks again over the middle. That one is knocked aside by Dage Drury, third down.
Well, we talk about how Atlanta are multiple seasons removed from their previous championship in season 14, but you look at the actual their actual performance in the playoffs. 4 out of the 5 previous playoffs they have been there, so I think they have all the pieces, and I think they're gonna hope to shake this one off as a fluke. And oh my
Pass
goodness,
is deflected and picked off, and that should be your bowl game, as Dynasty has thrown 4 interceptions. That's back-to-back weeks where he's thrown 4, and it's a tip drill pick. That is Itera's second interception of the ball game.
yeah, and I think Atlanta are just gonna try to shake this off as a fluke, and really get into the film room and their scouting, and look past how extraordinary and bizarre this game was, and try to diagnose the issues for next time out.
Atlanta's going to call a timeout. They'll have 1 remaining, and so Atlanta might get the ball back with maybe a last chance with about maybe 20 seconds left to go. But from all intents and purposes here, Alden, this ball game is over.
Yeah, and really it's been one-sided for a very long time. As much as Atlanta are going to try to shake this off as a fluke and try to figure out what went wrong, I mean, just everything going right. On the contrary, for Las Vegas, they shut down the running game of Atlanta, of BDG Hollywood. The living legend, the playing Hall of Famer. And that made it so hard for their offense, because they weren't able to pass, because they didn't have the ability to throw the defense off balance with the run. And then it became predictable that they were going to throw when the run was not working. So Las Vegas really forcing Atlanta to play their game, and it turned out to be a masterstroke.
With that third kneel down, the clock continues to run. We'll see the punter for Las Vegas, McCrack, come out and do his job, and Atlanta will have maybe about 5 seconds now by my calculations to make something happen, maybe on a Roosevelt return. So this could be the final play of the ball game.
Yeah, they're gonna need to break out some Little Giants tactics. They need to break out the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Annexation of Puerto Rico. We'll see. That was an offensive play, not really a special teams play.
Oh, that's true.
There we go. McCrack punts it downfield. McCrack's punt will be down in the end zone with 2 seconds remaining. Atlanta might have to heave-ho it for 80 yards, but by the way of a Bryant Dynasty Hail Mary. But this should be the final play. Officially now. We've said it a couple of times.
Yeah.
This will be the final play of the ball game. A last chance for Atlanta to come out of Las Vegas with their heads held high.
Now they're going for the annexation of Puerto Rico. Fumblerooski.
There we go. Let's see what happens. Dynasty to throw, and it's a swing pass to BDG, which goes backward, and that's been the story of the game. 52-6, Las Vegas control the Swarm.
Yeah, and that really, control is the name of the game. You look at these statistics and they look similar, but besides the fact that BDG Hollywood, really struggled to run compared to what he usually would expect. I mean, this has just been complete tempo domination by Las Vegas. And although it doesn't show up on their offensive yards, those 2 punt returns on special teams had to have been close to over 100 yards each.
Close to about, I would say, about 70 yards apiece, maybe 140 all turn on returns. But I think it was best summed up in chat. What could go wrong did go wrong. 3 penalties on the ball game, all committed by Atlanta. This pass right here from Green, a flutter over the middle to the tight end Roberts for his first career touchdown. Just everything was turning up fury today.
Yeah, and if we're talking about the things that, you know, were done much more consistently, as we see that huge tackle, borderline spine buster by the Las Vegas special offensive line, you know, really the thing that was so successful so often for Las Vegas in this game was the sort of jet fighter mentality, just putting the ball up in the air and letting your man go get it. You know, that confidence, that bravery, really, I think, was the secret sauce on offense for Las Vegas.
So both teams end today at 500, 3-3 apiece. Ike McBride, Justin Reside, and the Stats Truck. I've been Tyler Falk alongside Alden Bleeker. Cameron Irvine's been our producer this evening. Your player of the game is Scott Johnson. I'm surprised they did not give it to Doug Britton. I think he got gypped, but Johnson did get 3 rushing touchdowns as well. So congrats to Johnson on player of the game. Las Vegas played spectacularly, and that's going to do it. 52-6 your final score here in Las Vegas. And until tomorrow when we get a special Monday night presentation, see you then. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.